Putting You First is a 5-year change programme working to 4 work streams looking to affect innovation, integration, community resilience using technology. The purpose of this event was to demonstrate 3 types of technology which we wished to test. Using the technology, we hope to put health and care services into people's homes and encourage self-management of well-being. So the aim of today is to engage with you and see if you feel that you can apply aspects of your service delivery through the use of application software technology and levels of what we call self-management and remote support. This will enable people to self-manage their health and well-being and uses tools that are linked to validated self-management techniques. We want to promote the benefits of self-management technology to the people that we work for, as well as for you as members of staff. And then what we would hope to do beyond this meeting is coordinate a meeting with interested partners, not interesting, hopefully they are, but interested partners, to look at how we could explore service development and some tests of change using the technology we're going to demonstrate this afternoon. This would be with targeted people, pre-agreed with the appropriate staff and consultants or clinicians. And it may be that we encourage them to download something and that's all we do, and they use it as they see fit. Or it may be that they have support from a professional as well, and again we'll talk through that as we go through this afternoon.
I just want to tell you a wee bit about a very light touch telehealth project that we've got running here in Dumfries and Galloway, and it's been running now for a year, and we are testing this. It's a simple telehealth solution which we designed on the back of a very well known tool, which is the medical early warning score. Now we use this in hospitals throughout the land to track and trigger when patients become unwell, and it's an early warning score to allow us to take action to avoid patients deteriorating when they're in hospital. So about 2009 I came across a patient tool, or there was a paper in an Italian journal, and I looked at this cruise tool here and made it fit the patient perspective rather than the clinician. So basically we designed this as a traffic light system and an early warning score, and tested it in a small number of patients, and I'll hand that out. Then presented it in Barcelona in 2010, and then we did another small test of change in about 20 patients, and then presented our findings again in Vienna in 2012. So we're now in a formal trial which has been validated and has gone through ethics committee, and we have some very good support from the Edinburgh University team there as well on this. So basically, if you start on the left hand side and you look down the side, you will see parameters. There is questions about the patient's oxygen saturation, their heart rate, their temperature, their pulse, cough, what they produce, sputum, it's a common thing in respiratory medicine. What's happening to their chest sounds? Are they wheezy? Are their ankles swelling up? Are they more short of breath than normal? And what's their daily activity? So all of these things will increase or move over from the left to the right hand side as they become unwell. So basically we've now designed the clinical trial round about this, and it's a 1-year pre and post observational study on the application of this particular tool with patients at home. So you are the first people to see the results of this study, because I'm just now starting to pull in the data. The primary aim is to look at whether patients can actually use this. So utility, number 1. The effect of the tool on hospital admission rates and bed days, pre and post intervention we're measuring, and we're looking at quality of life and 3 validated tools as well. So we have some fairly hard outcome measures that we will be writing up and publishing on once we finish the study. And again, evaluating the impact on patient self-management as well. So these are all things that we're measuring throughout the course of the study. So to date, we've actually now got 30 patients recruited to the study out of 50. Recruitment has been slow because the type of patients that we are actually targeting are people who have been in hospital, they've had 2 admissions in the year prior to the study, and they've got multimorbidity and advanced age, and some of them can't self-manage with this tool because they maybe can't understand it or they're physically not able to do it. So that audience of patients that we're actually testing in may not be the best people to target, but we're learning as we go along, as you do in clinical trials. Since we started the study, we've had 4 readmissions. One of them was a pneumonia, which is not an exacerbation of COPD, okay? It's an infective process, but it's not the same thing. So the target patient are those with a diagnosis of COPD. One patient came back in for 2 days, but she used the early warning score to phone me and say, I'm not quite so well. I said, well, I'll come and see you on my way home from work. And when I went in, I thought she's really on the edge of not being that well. So we got her steroids and antibiotics, and she managed to have a 2-day admission instead of a 7-day admission. We had one patient fell, fractured neck of femur, which is not an exacerbation of COPD. And we had one patient who had a pneumothorax, which was a collapsed lung. So the readmissions in the study patients so far are pretty low. So to date, 2 have completely finished the follow-up in the study. And the 2 patients before study was 13 bed days and after 0. Now one of these individuals has had 22 bed days since 2012 before he went into the study, and he's had no admissions since he came in, since he started in the study. And he's a great example of self-management and being able to take early action as his score increased. We've got 9 that are due to complete by January, and bearing in mind there's data that's missing. The bed days before in this group, 113 before, 25 to date after, but we've still got a few months to follow these patients up. So again, I think there's a trend there to reducing hospital admission. The 6-month follow-up to date, I've left that blank at this stage because we are seeing a trend to reduce bed days in those patients, but I think I'm anxious of reporting on a clinical trial before it's finished. We've got this ANA remote monitoring project. We've stepped down 8 patients onto cruise, and when we went to visit them and they had the heavy touch telemonitoring removed, the patients could intuitively use the scoring tool without much coaching at all. They would say, all right, I know how to use this, and off they would go. So it was very evident to me that they already had self-management skills because they had been in the telemonitoring project, which was a wee bit more intensive. The pulmonary rehab patients, we've now got 6 patients at point of pulmonary rehabilitation that are testing the tool, and that is that they have their exercise class, the specialist nurses giving them information about their overall health and their medicines, but also about enhanced self-management. And we've lined up another 4 from ANA to step down, and a GP practice in Castle Douglas are going to be taking 8 patients and evaluating the tool with them as well. So when we started to see results from the actual controlled trial, we've looked at other tests to change to try and measure it in real life circumstances as well. So that's where we're at. And really, I think from my point of view, if you look at this scoring tool, you can imagine it on a smartphone, an iPad, whatever, and you touch the colours and it scores you and it gives you advice, then for me it sounds like a logical next step. But so far so good, and we will have results. Hope to finish recruitment by December. Then these patients will all have to be followed up for a year, so we're not going to have anything solid in publication probably for another 2 years, but certainly we'll have some posters for major respiratory conferences that we'll start to be able to share some of the data that we've got with this. Edinburgh University are also doing a light touch telehealth project, which they decided after they did the telescope trial that the big heavy touch stuff may not be affordable for everybody at scale, and they were looking at less expensive options. This option is in the paper format. It's about £80 per patient, so it is very much inexpensive light touch telehealth. Okay.
Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Jody. I'm here to just quickly talk you through Ginsberg, which is a self-management technology project around mental health operating out of the Scottish Government offices in Victoria Quay in Edinburgh. So Ginsberg is an online tool to help people understand themselves better. It's something that allows them to take greater ownership of their emotional well-being and mental health. The idea being that they can spot patterns and work out what appropriate lifestyle interventions they can make to have positive health outcomes. As I said, it's a Scottish Government project. We're also co-funded by NHS 24 and New Media Scotland, and we sit within the mental health team within Scottish Government. I'm just going to quickly talk you now through some of our core features, and we're actually not too far away from entering a public test now. So I'm going to give you a very top-level overview, and I believe there's a document in the delegate pack that has a lot more information, and yeah, it's something we can follow up on later. So one of the core features of Ginsberg is that we look at mental health and mood in a much more complicated way than simply I feel good or I feel bad. So we use what we call wellbeing dimensions, and they're based on a couple of clinically valid frameworks. So we've got Warwick Edinburgh and we've got WHO5, and they allow us to look into how people are feeling on a much more granular level than simply a binary scale. We also allow people to attach emotions to physical activities. So using the data that people enter into the system, we can work out connections between things like their alcohol consumption, how much they sleep, their exercise, their step count, even how active they are in terms of talking on things like Facebook and Twitter, and how they actually feel. So we can establish these connections and look at when people are behaving in a certain way. The tool is also, as well as allowing people to see these patterns themselves, the tool actually actively finds these connections for them. So the slide you see just now shows one part of our insights engine. So this looks into the relationship between sleep and different things that are going on in people's lives, so different events, perhaps related to sleep and various other things. And we allow people to record diary entries within Ginsberg, so you can tag different things that have been going on in your day. So for example, if you had family issues or money issues, you can tag those, and we can establish the impact that has on your sleep and various other things that are going on with your life. In terms of how people actually use Ginsberg, so our main interface is through desktop computer. That's been our primary platform. But this is, it's where the full feature set is available. But we do realise that not everyone has access to desktop, and there's huge demand for access through tablet, which we fully support as well for modern iPad and Android tablets. We spent some time yesterday doing mobile testing, and on any sort of tablet bought in the last couple of years, it will work and will work going forward. We also have a mobile app. The mobile app at the moment is for Android and for iPhone. We may roll out for Windows Phone at some stage in the future, and potentially other platforms depending on demand. At the moment, that allows people to enter their wellbeing information, so to record how they're feeling each day, and over time we're going to be rolling more and more features into that. That will allow them to keep track of different aspects of their lives as well. We also integrate with some of the popular apps that Lorraine already mentioned that people are using. So we have things like MyFitnessPal. We also integrate with Fitbit, Jawbone, Runkeeper, Strava, and all of these different tools that people use to monitor different aspects of their health. And because of the way we're set up, we're very modular. There's the ability to, in theory, import data from any application that has an API. So when Apple sort out their HealthKit stuff, we'll be able to bring the information from that. The same from Google's current solution. So really opening up the accessibility there, and really, rather than adding something else to people's lives which are already quite busy and they don't necessarily want to use something else, we're just slotting into what they already use.
The event demonstrated these key findings, and after an interesting session explaining the national evidence and existing models, we were delighted to gain approval to carry out a large-scale test of change. If you would like further information on this event or other Putting You First tests of change, please go to our website on the NHS public web pages.